Baseball is officially back, and it might have happened in Japan, but it's here and it's beautiful, and baseball season is upon us. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 4-1 in Japan in the first Major League Baseball game of the season, and that does count, and it's one step closer to all the games counting as we are just 9 days away from the Mets making a trip to Houston to take on the Astros and Clay Holmes taking on Framber Valdez. Welcome to Mets Daily. Subscribe to the channel, please. Smash that thumbs up. We appreciate your support. Give us that thumbs up. Comment below. Remember, the top 3 comments on today's show will be read in tomorrow's mailbag right here on Mets Daily. Thursday, we have our guest. Next week, we'll give out all our predictions for the Mets season as we get you ready for opening day in Houston. And baseball being here, of course, Shohei Ohtani had a nice day, not surprised, or a nice morning here on the East Coast, 6 a.m. start. But I think it just reminds you that baseball opening day, there's nothing better. There's nothing that compares to the baseball season beginning. And for me, it's always been huge as a tradition, me and my dad going to the Mets home opener. This year, it'll be 22 years in a row. It's a tradition. I started with him in 2003. We weren't sure at first it would become a tradition. We started going each year, and we kind of turned it into a tradition. And, you know, as your parents get older, and if they're still with you, I think it is important to carry on family traditions. And that is one that I am proud of because, you know, as a family who, you know, a couple of years after that tradition started, moved to North Carolina, it got harder and harder to make the tradition happen. They were down south. He'd usually have to fly up. Then there were times he's working up north, and it was just a hassle to make happen. In 22 years in a row, outside of the COVID year where no one was able to go, in 2020, we've been able to make it happen. Even in 2021, we had our masks on. We were at the game, 8,000 fans. We were still there. And there's something special about opening day. The grass, green, the smell of the hot dogs, the smell of the fresh air, the weather getting better. There's nothing like it. And I'm proud to make that tradition 22 years in honor of Juan Soto, number 22. Continue to happen on April 4th when the Blue Jays come to Citi Field at 3 o'clock. And I can't wait to be there, be back at the ballpark. And, you know, I like when the season starts at home, but we'll deal with it starting in Houston, a rare kind of trip to Texas to start the season against an American League team. Doesn't happen often, but, you know, baseball being back in a game that counts in the standings, maybe it's a sign of things to come. The Dodgers winning the first game, maybe they end up winning the last. They are the Avengers. They're going to be the team to beat, and they're just too good. And the hope is that the Mets can take them down if they get there in the best of 7 in either division series or championship series, or if they got to do it in a wild card, although I think the Dodgers are locked to win the division. But love opening day, love the tradition, hope to see you all at Citi Field. We're getting closer to that. We're also getting closer to a potential new look around Citi Field as the casino is one step closer to happening. Can you believe it? Now, there could be other places where it happens, but Metropolitan Park, an $8 billion idea to bring casino and entertainment complex to outside the junkyards there to the parking lot at Citi Field by owner Steve Cohen of Hard Rock Entertainment, has garnered a bit more support by the New York City Council. During its uniform land use review procedure last week, the City Council voted 41-2 to change the zoning to make way for the project. Now, it still needs to get the state's approval. It's still a ways away. It's the state legislators' casino license review process this year. It's still a ways away, but for now, this is a promising start for this Queens project. And let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Listen, I am all for a revamping of that Citi Field area. I think we all agree there needs to be a revamping. It's been junkyards and chop shops and black cats around, you know, cheap tires. I had to get a tire once. I drove my friend's car, got him a car wash, but then I got a flat tire through a pothole, classic Queens pothole. Had to get a tire. I went by Citi Field and got a tire next to Citi Field. The black cats are running through my legs. Hopefully that's not bad luck. And, you know, it's an area that's needed to be revamped our whole lives. And we've always wanted things to do. And I also think, you know, when Steve Cohen talks about attendance and the Mets need better attendance and he wishes people showed up in September, well, listen, the games are shorter. So fans are paying now for 2 hours, 15 minutes sometimes. Top price, top dollar, top drink, top food to get 2 hours, 15 minutes of entertainment. It would help if they had an hour or two before and an hour or two after, or maybe beyond 2 hours to have something around the area. So I do think it's an incredible idea, and I hope it happens that area is surrounded by bars, restaurants, things to do. Here's where the casino gets dangerous. First off, degenerates. And, you're going to have people coming from the casino who don't care about the Mets. You're going to have a lot of tickets, remember, taken by casino customers. You're going to have a lot of tickets being bought by Hard Rock for VIP customers to go to the Mets game, then come to the casino. So it's going to be tougher and tougher to get Mets tickets. I don't think that's something people have really thought about, but a lot of VIP customers, Hard Rock's going to scoop a ton of tickets and give them out to people, who are degenerates, who are going to come from the stadium to the casino, or casino to stadium, or casino to stadium back to the casino. So a lot of tickets are going to be tough. Parking will be an absolute train wreck. The traffic will be a disaster, especially on weekend games. And, they're going to add plenty of parking spots, but I envision that being an absolute disaster. It already is in that area without any other events going on. You're telling me there's a soccer stadium already happening, and you're going to add a casino. Traffic is going to be an absolute nightmare. But I like elements of it, but I'm not sure I love the casino, soccer stadium, food. I wanted food, maybe some stores, restaurants, bars, maybe karaoke, maybe like a bowling alley, something. But like the casino mixed with all these things, it may not be the most enjoyable experience getting there, and it could be hard down the road for people to have it. But with all that being said, I think the area being revitalized is what's important here. And I think it'll be a positive. But remember, there's going to be a lot of headaches if this does indeed happen. Again, it needs to get state legislative approval. It's still pretty much a long ways away, but there is momentum now being built because of this New York City Council vote. I'm on the fence on it. I think I'd probably rather it happen, but remember, there's going to be a lot of negatives that come along with this. Let us know in the comments. Do you want the casino? Why do you want it? Why do you want that area? Or are you a proponent? Are you worried about the traffic? Are you worried about that whole project taking all the tickets away? And, if that ends up being the case, the Mets might have to increase the capacity. They might have to figure out areas to add seats. Do they add seats next to the Apple in center field? Do they have an extension in the outfield? What do they do to potentially add a couple thousand seats to make it easier for people to go to the game and maybe get more of an attendance? So there's going to be a lot of layers to this, but let me know what you think in the comments below. There's also a lot of layers to the Mets farm system, and one of them is Ronnie Mauricio. Ronnie Mauricio now, his start will get delayed. He will not play in any spring training games. We'll see. I assume within the first couple of weeks he plays in AAA, but the Mets are taking it very slow right now with Ronnie Mauricio, and this is a guy that I look to be a big part of the Mets at some point this season. I am very high on Ronnie Mauricio. Remember, this guy came up a couple of years ago on the scene, and he had talent. Like, he had something to him, and he hit the ball hard. Now, he only played 26 games, 101 at-bats, 25 hits, 2 homers, 9 RBIs. But here's what I love about him. I love a good stolen base. 7 stolen bases, 0 caught stealings. Now, Luisangel Acuna got picked off twice the other day. He tried to steal once last year and got caught. Not a knock on him. But Ronnie Mauricio is a guy who's 7 for 7 in stolen base in the big leagues. I understand it's a small sample size. But how hard he hits the ball, being a switch hitter, having success stealing bases, makes Ronnie Mauricio, to me, a guy that needs to be part of this Mets team at some point this season. And if there is an injury or two, I think Ronnie Mauricio is going to get his chance, whether it's at second base, whether it's DH. I've always said on here, I think he's going to be the Mets DH one day, maybe next year. I think Winker will not be back in 2026. I don't want to look too far ahead here, but when you project about prospects, you got to think far ahead. And I think Winker's going to be gone, Marte's going to be gone, and I think that's where Ronnie Mauricio is not an elite defender, could play a factor as, either part-time or full-time Mets designated hitter. So he won't play in spring. He'll play in, minor leagues to start the year, and then we'll see when you get Ronnie Mauricio. And then Ryan Clifford, named to the all-spring breakout first team. This guy hit, my favorite 2 words when I talk about home runs. Piss missile. 449-foot missile in that spring game on Sunday. And listen, I've talked a little bit about Ryan Clifford on here. I think Ryan Clifford has a chance to be the Mets first baseman in 2026. I'm not kidding. I think it's probably too soon for him to make the team this year, but watch out for Ryan Clifford as a name to be Pete Alonso's replacement at first base in 2026. If Alonso's a great year, he opts out. I do think the Mets move on. And if the Mets do not sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr., keep an eye on Ryan Clifford in the minors this season and the year he has, because I do think he is the potential future first baseman of the New York Mets. I love his power. I love his eye. You saw it the other day in the spring game. He does not swing at bad pitches, even if some guys really just want to make an impression in spring and show out and maybe swing at a bad pitch to try to hit it out of the park. Ryan Clifford has a very, very good eye, and he's shown that in the minor leagues. This guy might only hit 228, but his OBP was 372. So you might argue he has too good of an eye and he needs to swing a little bit more. But when you have an OBP 140 points higher than your average, that shows you have an elite eye. Hit 19 homers, 68 RBIs. If he can raise that average, maybe raise that home run and RBI total, Ryan Clifford's a name to keep an eye on. And Mets Daily is a show to keep an eye on. Subscribe, smash that thumbs up. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio on all social. Comment below, top 3 comments on tomorrow's Hump Day Mets Daily. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.